All right, so for the sake of Dale, this is your first time working bees at all, right? You haven't worked here before, right? So what we're gonna do is, right now we're having what's called the fall flow, where they're bringing this last ditch effort of nectar to prepare for their winter stores. Sorry, losing my focus here. So they're out getting mostly goldenrod and asters right now, and anything that's got nectar or pollen, stocking up. And so we're going to try and get our supers drawn a little early for next spring, if we can get them to entice them to draw them out. Otherwise, we're just kind of putting the supers on there and we'll pull them off when the flow's over in a couple weeks. But so these ones that I've already put the supers on, we're just going to go back in and make sure that we got all the apivar strips out, because there was a couple of them that were missing, which leads me to believe that they've just, what in the heck, what did I grab, some thorns? Mm-hmm. Which leads me to believe that they have fallen down in there. So we're just going to lift these off real quick, get down to the bottom. That's why I hate this smoker, it don't stay lit. We're going to get the apivar out of the bottom, and then our plan of action is to do these other ones that I hadn't gone through yet. Pull out all the apivar, put on supers. We're going to feed them. We've got a pump over there that we're pumping. We're still using 1-to-1 because we want to try and get those wax glands going. So it pumps 1-to-1 sugar syrup into their feeders. Hopefully they'll use that to get going with the wax, and they'll realize they're out of space and they'll start drawing. But that's to be seen whether or not they're going to draw. The bees at my house about 3 miles up the road are drawing fine, so hopefully we can get these guys drawing. Normally I'd pull all this out, but I'm just trying to get it going again. You want to light your smoker at the bottom, otherwise for ones that don't have these screens, you'll start spewing ashes out if you go from the top. And always keep it away from you. Don't ever point it at people, because flames can shoot out of the end. So keep that in mind. And sometimes these suits, they might be flame retardant, but they'll melt and it can be bad. So, all right, this should be plenty to get us going. We'll go ahead and start with number 1. Go right down the line. I think I don't need that right now, but okay.
No, okay. I thought you wanted to poke the pond straw down in here.
No, that's good. All right.
All right.
So, you know what the smoker does? Calms the bees down. It kind of blocks pheromones. It tricks them into thinking their home's on fire, so they go and eat honey, which slows them down. It doesn't make them higher, or whatever people believe. That's just nonsense myths. So I like to give them a little bit of smoke before we get in there. And with these hives, they've got this screen top, so it makes it pretty easy to give them a little smoke. That's it. It's super. You can lift up. They just lift right off.
Oh, and then
Come right off. So when you set stuff down, always set it vertically, so you don't have the risk of crushing your queen. If you set it horizontally on its side,
smoke
those frames can shift. You want to come around here behind us, Dale, because she's going to lift, or you're going to lift the top one.
Come on over here, Dale. Well, why don't you demonstrate to him how he's going to lift, because he
Okay.
does not need to lift it off.
All right, so
He just needs to angle it. Show him what you need him to do.
this needs to come all the way off. So use your pocket tool here. So if you can just take this off and hold it, I'm going to lift this one like this. Try to hold it by the handles in the future so you don't crush your fingers when you set it down. But hang on. You'll hold that. I'll just lift this up. No strips on this one. So we're good. Any of
Lift her
them?
down inside.
Yeah, and there's going to be 1 or 2 of them at least in
See this?
number 3.
How you
Yeah,
doing,
I
Dale?
manipulated these already. They're good.
You're checked? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I did 1 and 2 completely the other day. They're
Smoke
all
them
good.
down,
No,
and
you don't
then-
need to smoke them. Toss it on. We smoke them, it's just unnecessary stress. I try to smoke them as least as possible. I know most people would smoke them down, but like I said,
Yeah, I do just to be cautious in case.
I work a little differently. So usually they'll have a marking on here which side's up or which side's down. You can usually tell whichever side has the bigger space, that's going to be your bottom. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Like, you can't see the seams on this side. That's how you know that's
Do we have feed now? We can go ahead and feed what we have.
Yeah, that's right. We need to feed. The pump's right there. I'll flip it on.
Yep.
The way we feed is we've got these gallon frame feeders here. We've got this handy irrigation pump. This the first time using this one. It seems to be working just fine. Of course, we got a brand new hose that's coiled up, so I gotta keep things easy. But there we go. Oh, if I can hold it. If you want to go ahead and slip that one down, I'm gonna move the camera over to the other side so we can get a unobstructed view, maybe for anybody that's watching or for the owner of the farm that would.
Is the pump turned on?
Yeah, it's gonna take a second probably. Oh, you gotta open the valve. Yeah, it's supposed to shut off at 60 psi. If it's coming out of there too fast, I'll have to slow it down. I hear it pumping. I hear the pressure now. This thing's come down to the point where it might just be too much pressure. Is there any kinks in the hose? I mean, it's definitely air coming. See, it cuts off, so it's definitely getting filled with pressure. It was the first time the thing's been used. So just take a second to fill the hose. Is there a kink right there? Here you go. So I think that hole is so small it's going to come out of there super freaking fresh for us. Can you hold this right there while I check this? Actually, I think it might be pumping backwards. It's blowing air into here. You hear it?
Something's not right, yeah.
It's blowing the other way. So yeah, so he had these things on there the wrong way. You hear it? It's pumping air into there. I just realized that.
Alright.
A few moments later.
So what we're going to do is we're going to spray, we'll put that super back on and spray all the frames.
Yeah, encourage you to draw it out. Do you know why we're spraying the frames on that thing? Okay, so the comb that's on it, the wax that's on it, you need to draw it out, pull it out to make it look like a honeycomb, okay? So, but they are not interested in it because, of course, obviously, the wrong kind of here. So what you can do to encourage them to work on that wax is to spray it with a little bit of sugar water. And then they'll go up there and they'll, as they're eating it, they'll encourage you to work on the frames.
Particularly, I thinned out the sugar water to find a thinner sugar water, more
This here is
stimulating.
plain wax. You want the bees to work on.
But bringing they'll come to feed on it. So
Yeah.
basically, if you thin it down, they find that a thinner sugar syrup is more stimulatory
Is that
for
enough?
waxes, and yeah, we're just gonna spray each of them down. Just enough to get them up here. So hand them down, spray them, hand them back.
Yeah.
So we're just.
Because what I'll do is I'll stay long enough to take out the strips, and then I'll leave
Yeah.
the guys here to spray.
That was the game plan, because I've got to bring the frames over here anyways. They're at the house. I forgot we didn't have one. Oh wait, we got to clean the excluder. Be careful not to bend the excluders when you pull those out. They slide in there, you pull it. You can bend the frame, the wires of the excluder. While you're doing that, he and I can go ahead on to the next one, and you can be the sprayer, and we can pull the apron bar. You can set that on the ground for right a second. All right, so we're gonna do just like we did before. This will come right off. You got that Hive tool in your pocket? Alright, so you'll grab the top one, I get the bottom one. I'll come right behind it, grab it by those two handles there. I'll tell you. Alright, go ahead. Yep, got it. So what's holding that down is what's called propolis, which is, so bees make three things essentially. As far as that's a hive beetle, you want to kill those suckers if you see them. We've had a bad problem with them this year, as always here in the south. If you you'll notice that there's some stuff in here that's brown, like this. It's propolis. It's known as like bee glue. Basically, the bees use that to seal everything up to their liking and toss it right back on. All right, and so hope you got your shirt, your pants. And so when you're done, you just want to make sure everything's kind of squared away. See how you pushed it forward, so we're going to pull it back and get it back on there like it's supposed to be. And then we'll set this back down, and Terry will move this way and she'll spray them. And we'll go ahead through all of these real quick and get the apron bar off. And we'll circle back and get that first hive. So it'll be a quick process here. I don't know if we were on camera. We're going to do the next one here. Alright. You mind snatching that off and setting it down on the ground there. And remember, like I said, set it vertically.
Like this?
No, straight up vertically. And so that these frames are also vertical. Terry can fill and she can
Yep.
this over so she can fill it.
Well, I'm not going to fill it with the peanut speeder on there like that.
Well, yeah, I'm just sliding it so we'll remember. All right. So when you stand them up, you always want to stand them so these frames are vertically, because those frames can shift. And if you put it down on its side, those frames will slide down and you can potentially switch your queen. Which usually a healthy colony can build another queen, but for somebody that's only got 1 or 2 hives, that's a devastating thing that happens. So.
Oh, well, we have nothing coming out of the hose. So,
We look for a kink.
I'm going to say, what is the issue here, gentlemen?
Yeah, I'm wondering if that thing is building up too much pressure. Hang on, we might have just came loose on our connections. I'm wondering if that thing's building up too much pressure, because it's got to. If it's more than 60 psi, the pump shuts off. Now the pump's not running, so it's still under pressure.
Well, what's the problem?
Unless he bought the wrong kind of pump, I told him to make sure he gets one that shuts off. I have to check the box. Hang on, let's see. I wonder if this battery's dead. So leave them like that so she can get to the feeder when we're done. Don't let me forget that, because I have a tendency to forget things. All right, you want to snatch that off real quick, please? Smoking for you if you're worried about it. Got it?
Yep. Just like set it down.
Hold it for just a moment, since this is going to be quick. There's one right there. So this is what I'm after. These. Which I should have put some gloves on, but it'll be fine. I touch amatraz all the time. I just won't eat for a while. All right, slap it back on there. Ooh, that's why I don't like these straps. I'll trip on them. All right, so do the same thing again.
Oh crap.
Whenever you come to get up against it, don't lean up against this because you're pushing it forward. So try to remember. Be careful, I don't step on that. Which, yeah, it's your first time, so mistakes are to be expected. That's why I'm keeping an eye on what you're doing. Can you slide?
I recommend we figure out the feed situation, Brandon.
I'll figure that out. Right now, let's just bang these out because you said you've got to be out of here. So
Yeah.
I'll figure the feed out. If he bought a pump that wasn't on demand, it could have just cut off and burned itself up.
Okay.
Running. I think you got it.
All right, gents, go ahead. I got that. I got it.
So I asked him to get an on-demand one, so hopefully he did.
What are those black and orange bugs? I wish I knew what kind of those were.
Florida predatory stink bugs. They eat wax moths, the wax moth larvae, but they also eat bees. So
Yeah.
they've got a really cool looking pupa stage where they're like blue and orange and have like red dots. They're really colorful, and I was like, what the heck is that? And so I looked it up and found out that they eat wax moths, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna stop squishing them. All right, you ready? That should be good. Flip it straight on up. There you go. Is that one pretty heavy?
Yeah.
Stung on my hand one more time. It's gonna be like my 5th sting on my hand today.
So you want to get your own hive set up, Daniel? You want to get your own hive? Or you just want to work hives for somebody else?
I wouldn't mind working.
Okay.
So this one here has got a lot of stuff still needs to be drawn in the bottom, so hopefully they'll, you know, I slap back on. Hopefully they'll get that one all done. We were a little late season on some of this flipping. Okay, on to the last one on this row. Move this. Somewhere with a decent view of everything. Probably right here would be the way of doing it. Alright, hopefully we're staying in frame. I don't know. Alright, let's get this last one here. Ooh. Propolis one here.
Lots of propolis there.
Yeah, is it always like that with this one? I don't really pay much attention to propolis on the top.
Yes. Some of these will really surprise you with the propolis.
I just leave it unless it's in my way. So Terry and I have very different approaches on things. She does things hobbyist level where she's only got a handful of hives. I'm used to doing things where we got
Commercial level.
hundreds and thousands of hives and we got to work fast. So
Well, and his commercial levels for pollination and my hobby hives are for honey. So
well, we produce honey, so you don't got to snatch that off.
you do, but your main goal is pollination.
Eventually, yeah. Pretty good.
Honey just happens to be a byproduct of your pollination.
Yeah, it's more of a nuisance in my boss's eyes, honestly. He'd rather not even have to deal with it, but it has to be dealt with. So we need to circle back and get that first one that we omitted as I had the camera sitting on it. So, another thing, when you put the stuff back on, it's what's holding this corner. What you want to do, look at that, I got them something here, a spider that was killed in there. So, what you want to do when you're putting your stuff down, put it at a little bit of an angle, and then you can slide it into place, and you got less chance of rolling bees and killing as many bees. And unfortunately, manipulating a hive like we do as a beekeeper, some bees are going to die, but there's thousands of bees that are born every day in each of these colonies, hundreds at minimum if it's not during a brood break period, which means a couple of bees is really an insignificant number. And I know the vegans and PETA people hate to hear it, but that's the real truth behind the propaganda that they don't tell you. So, and then let's get this last one here. Remove my old busted up phone case that dog keeps chewing up. I'll have my hat and sweat on my glasses. Where's the smoker? Did I bring it? Whoa. Alright. These are all Italian bees, with the exception of one I got from Scott. It might have a little carny in it or something like that, but they're real calm bees, real gentle. Have you even gotten stung or had attempted stings?
Not yet. Surprisingly.
Nah, not surprisingly at all, to be honest with you. They're pretty chill bees. They should be ready to lift up if you want to see if you can get it. If not, let me know and I'll, yeah, there you go. Perfect. Yeah, this, I was going to say, this colony was one of the spicier ones in the past, so they might get a little angry here. Let me know if you have a problem. Whatever you do, please don't drop that thing. Slap her around back on up there. And so usually the colonies and stuff that I work, they're on pallets, they're right beside each other, so that's why I'm used to just dropping it straight down and not doing the spin thing like somebody would do, like in this case where they're just on a single stand here. It's a lot easier to get them on and manipulate them as opposed to where they're right side by side. So once they start stinging, they start releasing alarm pheromone. And the best thing you can do is just remain calm like you're doing. If it's getting to where they're stinging and it hurts, just keep walking a straight line. Just keep walking a straight line. We got feed in number 2, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now, how much time do you still have here, Terry? I have no idea. And my phone's recording, so I can't tell. What time you got, Dale? Robert's gonna laugh. I'm gonna send him this video. He's gonna be like, "You out here poaching my guys?"
My phone's on my other pants.
No. Sometime between 1 and 2.
It's 1:48. I have it till 1:30.
Oh, okay. We got plenty of time then. No problemo. All right. So we're not gonna put the supers on these because my dumb self left the frames, so I'll come back and slap those on later by myself. That's an easy job. I don't need a hand with that. All right, let's take the lid off here.
What is propolis good for?
It's used to, like, a lot of health people use it as kind of like a supplement, kind of like eating pollen or mixing pollen into honey. I believe it's got some kind of health benefits. I'm not like big on the holistic stuff, but I know it's popular. People use it. I chew on it sometimes when I'm working the hive. I'll swallow a little piece of it. It's supposed, like I said, it's supposed to be good for you. I kind of like the taste of it. It's a little minty.
Some of it here that has a bunch of bees in it. It'll need to be rendered down.
So see, this is a different lid. This is the standard inner cover, whereas those are a ventilated inner cover. So just leave that on at first. That way you don't have to worry about the bees flying in your face as bad. And then once you set it down, we'll get the apivar strips out at the top. So you'll see what I'm talking about here momentarily. Terry,
Number 1 needs to be sprayed.
yeah, okay. And I was gonna say the watering can that we used to use for feeds right there. And I'll play with this pump once we get through these 12. The nukes are fed. I put 4 frames on them because they fit, and I didn't have another 5 frame empty at the time. So check those up.
Well, I see the front's open on that. The box needs to be adjusted a little bit.
No, they can't get through there, and they've already propolized it pretty good.
Okay.
I've got some duct tape. I usually just throw a tape on that seam.
Okay.
But right now, it's not that big of a deal. I'm gonna switch it to a 5 frame in a couple of days once I get some more made.
Okay. Because I was going to say, he bought the equipment for regular deep.
Well, he didn't want to go to deeps when I talked to him.
Okay.
And I explained to him you're going to get a faster buildup if you leave them as nukes anyways. So right now, if we move them into a nuke with these cold nights that we're getting, we could potentially lose the colony.
Move into deep, you mean?
Yeah, excuse me, we move them into a deep. Toss it over there.
I don't know. You see, Daniel, this is where different people have different ideas. I'm not saying Brandon's wrong by any means. That's not the way I am. But what I'm saying is everybody might have a different thought process. I did nukes out here, and they did well all the way until January, and then my mite count got a hold of me and wiped them out. But we took nukes and moved them into deeps and made it. So I don't know.
Until January, right?
Until January, because then we had a mite problem.
But were the frames on the outside drawn out?
Yes.
See, that's,
Everything was drawn.
okay. Well, you probably put them into deeps a lot sooner. You didn't wait till September or
No,
October.
I didn't. No, we moved them into deeps, and we had them as nukes in August, and by the end of September, 1st of October, I moved them into deeps.
Yeah. So I'm more worried about if, for whatever reason, they don't finish drawing
Yeah.
that comb out, then they've got big open gaps of cold
Yeah,
air.
you're right.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
can't have gaps.
That's the thought process behind keeping it that way.
Yeah.
Plus, they build up faster as a double nuke than they do, just because bees build faster up than they do
yeah.
out.
I agree with that.
So I'll usually go triple nuke boxes before at least a double before I drop them into a deep. And if you go triples, that you're that far ahead of the game, and you can just checkerboard in if you've still got the temperature.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll call Kevin in and buy those extra deep setups.
I offered to buy them from him. He didn't want to sell them to me. He just wants to hold on to them. So you can try though.
I'll see what's up.
'Cause I told him, I said, I got somebody that needs 2 hives right now. They'll pay you back what you paid for them. All right. You want to do it yourself this time? Just see how it is. Basically, a hive tool is just a dedicated pry bar. It's a little different for bee hives.
Something like that.
Yep, and then hit the other side. Or sometimes you don't even have to hit the other side. You can just, and then it'll come off.
Oh, there they are.
You grab
Go
those
ahead
3
and grab them
strips.
real quick. Go ahead. There's 3 of them. Just grab them.
He's good.
Slide them out.
He's good.
There you go. Good job.
Bada bing, bada boom.
You know, just toss them on the ground.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick them all up later when I got some gloves on, some pesticide resistant gloves.
Yep. I'll get them. You guys pull them and I'll grab them, okay?
Okay, you've got the hive tool there. Trade with you. Why do I have a lighter in my hand?
Here's another hive tool here because I'm done feeding.
All right,
I'm
that
done.
one's ready. We're going this way if you want to feed these, and if we can leave that spray bottle here. Okay. And these are looking really good too, Terry. Yeah. I blame the beekeeper.
I'm not laughing too hard just yet. I was this way all the time last year, all the way up until
Until they died out.
January. And then we had a bad cold spell.
Yeah, I know. That's
And
we.
we didn't have enough oxalic acid machine yet.
I didn't use oxalic acid. I haven't used it at all yet, and I've gotten
Our
through it.
mites got ahead of us because the queens were jammed out. Come January, they were packed out. I could have put another Jeep on. That's how busy they were.
Yeah, because we had that little warm snap, and then it got cold again. That's what you're talking about.
Yep.
That's when I lost the colony because the yellow jackets robbed it out so bad and
Yep.
got killed.
That's when we took the heavy hit because the mites exploded, and then we took a cold snap and we couldn't get in there to treat. And that did it. That was the last of it for us.
With the way I'm seeing yellow jackets out here in this area, I would be surprised if it wasn't the mites that killed it, if it was something else. Right?
No, Kevin, came out and he talked to John because we had a case of American foulbrood too.
Here?
Yep,
I would have liked to have known that last year.
yep. We had a case of American foulbrood.
So he's selling bees with foul brood.
Who?
Where did the foul brood come from? It had to come from him.
No, it didn't come from him.
Did you get the bees from him?
We had 2 colonies of rogue bees out here that I couldn't get out of a
swarms?
tree.
Did you? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lift this.
When bought those nukes out, those nukes were perfect all the way up until January. We doubled them, had them in double deeps.
Right, but it takes at least 8, 9, 10 months before
Yep.
Varroa issues or ever the cause of it.
And we only had American foulbrood in 1 hive. There's one hanging off the bottom.
Okay.
Turn around. Yep, we only had American foulbrood in 1 hive.
What'd y'all do? Burn hives?
Well, yeah. We burnt to 1. The others were fine.
Have you seen any other cases around here of it?
Yep.
That's the first I've heard of it in this area, huh?
Well, which one is real bad to where you can clean your equipment and the other one you destroy it?
European foul brood is
Yeah.
the one that you can keep your equipment.
That's what we had.
Okay, that,
I'm
yeah, when
sorry.
you said AFB,
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
No.
why didn't they tell us that?
No,
Because usually the inspector will let
Yeah.
everybody
No,
know.
European foulbrood is what we had.
Excuse my language.
We had European foulbrood.
Oh, what happened to my camera there?
John felt, he's friends with Chris as well.
What happened here? Did it die?
He's friends with everybody. When he talked to John on the phone, John said, more than likely, since we're out here and there's so many other bees, it probably came from one of those other colonies.
Who said that?
John
John.
Harris.
He came out here?
Yeah, he's been out here. We had a variety of reasons why we kept going, but ultimately,
Yeah, that's what they blame everything on. It's usually something else.
no, it wasn't in this situation.
I'll take your word on it.
But I had too many experiences to take it up. Because I was upset. I worked my tail off
Yeah.
to make sure that the hive was safe.
So I'm trying to think of
Which way's open on this thing and which way's closed?
to where it's straight out
It's closed?
is in line open.
Okay.
There you go. That's closed.
That's what I want to make sure of.
Yeah, it's just like any other standard 90-degree valve, I believe.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. No, I was just clarifying.
All right, I'm gonna start filling so I can turn. And the yellow jackets as well. I love those things.
Yeah, they're always near the sugar. I'll stand there for 30 minutes when I'm outside, just crushing them as they come. And I've noticed they come in 3s. And if you keep killing them off, eventually they'll stop coming. So I guess the 3s is kind of their, in case we lose one, learn the way back like thing. That's kind of what I was assuming, you know. I don't know that that's fact. This is just my opinion based on the way animals behave, you know. Kind of a contingency plan. We send out 3 if nobody comes back, and we know not to bother going back to that spot type thing.
Your phone's on 20%.
Just hit low power, keep rolling. We got 2 left. We'll be all good. You should keep recording if you hit low power. You should have to do it again. The number's moving in the top. I know it's hard to see that screen.
Yeah, it's moving.
Cool. Yeah, I don't think we're expecting any more wind in the next couple of weeks. Have you heard anything, Terry?
No.
All right, then we'll just leave these straps off for right now.
I was strapping there just in case, and I'll tell you why. Because it's a pain when you have to run out here last minute to see if you strapped them.
Well, this ain't the only place I've got to run the strap stuff if there's something coming. So it's not that big of a deal to me. It's barely out of the way, but I understand.
I'll save you some time and go back and strap them up.
I'd rather leave them unstrapped personally, but it's up to you. If you want them strapped, strap them. I like them unstrapped. Just because it's less work on me the next time.
I'll leave them unstrapped. I think you're supposed to have a clear week.
Yeah, that's what I usually check before I leave and decide. And then,
One question. Do you want to go with solid lids, the other front six for winter?
I mean, yeah, for winter, yeah, definitely.
I was going to tell Kevin to pick up some solid lids last time we got the
I'm sure that they work just fine. Either.
Yeah.
leave my screens on mine all year round. It's just a matter of preference.
Watch out! Back up!
Shit.
Back up! Ah, damn it! They're gonna be mad. I don't want you getting stopped.
You good?
Friggin' paper cut. That's why I fucking let it go. I had a hold of it. This happens more often than not, unfortunately. I'm gonna double check, see if we can find the queen, make sure she's not here on the ground. If bees ever get dropped like that, don't immediately step there. So you see all these bees that are still on the ground?
Yeah.
You'll end up stepping on the queen. So if they're ever dropped, immediately step back and away from them. And step far away. Which, it doesn't even look like there's any brood up here. She's probably in the bottom where everything else is. Let's see. If I don't see any eggs up here, she's in the bottom and it's fine. So it looks like this is all nectar and stuff up here. Let's see what we got. There might be some brood. Nah, it looks like nectar. But so bees will tend to leave like an arch of nectar and pollen, and then a mixture of nectar and pollen, which is known as bee bread, and an arch pattern across the top above their eggs. So this is all nectar. She's down at the bottom. But what I'm saying is, when they fill, they start at the top, and if they're planning on laying brood, they won't fill it here. See how this is all nectar?
Mm-hmm.
And so, let's see, this nectar is pretty close to being honey. See how only a little bit's dripping out? And what happens once it gets cured properly, and the right amount of moisture is evaporated from it by the bees, then, catch my breath, sorry. Once it evaporates, then they put a wax capping over it, and it's pretty much done. And that's how you know when your honey's ready to be harvested. Now, they can cap it and not be ready, and they can not cap it yet and it can be ready. So that's why you use a refractometer, which will put a little honey on like a glass, like kind of like a microscope slide. There's a piece of glass, you put some honey there, and you hold it up to the light, and it'll tell you what the moisture rating is on your honey. If you make honey that is still got a lot of moisture in it, it'll ferment, which just because honey ferments doesn't mean it's useless. Flower stuck on that spider web right there. That was funny. If it started fermenting and you know somebody that makes mead, they'll take it and make mead with it, and they're already ahead of the game. If it's just barely fermenting, you can water it down and feed it back to your bees. It reaches a point where it's pretty far gone, it doesn't have a lot of use, but anything that you would use a fermented sucrose for, or a fermented glucose, I should say, because it's closer to, actually it's more of a fructose honey, but anything that, here, let me show you something right here while I'm thinking about it. So see how these bees are kind of linked up right here?
Yeah.
That's how they measure. They go from, they stretch out, and you'll see them, they'll chain out, and that's how they measure the size of something. So if they're trying to decide where they're going to move into, or they're trying to decide if they need to make comb or if they need to make propolis, they measure the gaps like that. It's kind of cool. You'll see a lot more of it once you start working hives more. But it's like how we stretch a rope. They make a rope chain basically of bees. What was I saying before that? I lost my whole train of thought. I'm just trying not to throw a bunch of information at you. I know you ain't gonna remember it all, but some of it will stick to the wall. This is what I was trying to do before it slipped off on me. This is how I do hives when I'm working them by myself, or when we're working a lot of them. You can just lift that top one, pull it a little bit, and kind of do it like a hinge. And that way you can turn up the tops and the bottoms and look and see sugar. You can look at the tops and the bottoms and see if there's swarm cells. Usually when they make swarm cells to swarm, that'll be along the bottom, and that's a quick, easy way to check the swarm cells without having to pull all your frames out. And so this hive, you can see, we just worked it. I didn't smoke them at all, and they're just as calm as can be. As long as you're slow, deliberate, not too forceful, bees usually don't get mad. I'm gonna take that camera from you.
All right.
And I'm gonna say goodbye and close this video out, and then we'll get these things fed and get out of here. But yeah, so that's Dale introducing Dale, next YouTube star. I'm just kidding. I only got 500 subs. So yeah, so we've got all that fed. I'm gonna come back today and slap those supers on a little bit that I left the frames at home. We've got queen excluders. We're getting a gallon of sugar syrup in each of them. We're gonna check the 2 nukes over here, which I don't think I put them in the last couple of videos. The nukes here, I've put a 4 frame on top just because that was the hardware I had. When I put the nuke in there, what I did was I took 1 frame from the bottom, put it at the top in the middle, slid the frames together on the bottom one, and put an empty one on the outside so that they will be enticed to move up and start building out from there. And yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. And thanks for anybody that watched.